What do you think should happen to the mom who allegedly faked her own kidnapping, then ended up in Disney World with her daughter? Is she in need of mental health help or serious time behind bars? It's your call right now. Boy, talk about a story that has generated a ton of debate for weeks now. People all over the country have been discussing the so-called kidnapping hoax and the mom who allegedly was behind it. Hello, everyone. It's good to have you with us. I'm Lynn Doyle, and I'm sure you have an opinion about this case. It all started in late May when a woman identified as Bonnie Sweeten called 911 and said she and her daughter had been in a minor accident, then abducted by two black men and were now being held in the trunk of a vehicle. Of course, police quickly swarmed the area. The Amber Alert system went into effect, but almost from the beginning, investigators were suspicious. We'll have more on that later. Their suspicions were correct, as Mrs. Sweeten and her child were found some 30 hours later in a Disney World resort. She was arrested and brought back to her hometown, where she is now facing charges. I have to say the charges, in all honesty, are not that horrific, not yet anyway. But the questions that she's facing from her loved ones, the cops, and of course the community, well, they're the pretty tough ones. What would make someone do something like this, and how do you think the judicial system should be dealing with her? Those are some of the questions that we'll be asking on this edition of It's Your Call. I brought together a great group of legal minds in the studio here to debate those queries and more. They are some of my favorite guests. Representing the prosecutorial side is Scott Sigman, who is a former Philadelphia Assistant District Attorney, now in private practice with Sigman and Rockland LLC, and Tariq El-Shabazz, who is a former District Attorney in Philadelphia. He's now a criminal defense attorney. On the defense side, my favorites, Charles Peruto Jr. is a Philadelphia defense attorney, and Jeff Gold is a criminal defense attorney with the law offices of Gold and Associates. He is a former New Jersey prosecutor. So we have all bases covered here, guys. Great to have you back with us. Good to see you.
Good to be back.
I want to turn over to Tariq because I want to know if this case generated so much attention because it was a woman who was faking her own kidnapping, or whether, as the social networking sites and the bloggers are saying, she's a racist who turned and said, hey, two black guys took my kid and me, and that's why this is getting so much attention.
Well, I think it would have had attention anyway with someone faking a kidnapping or having a hoax in a kidnapping, but it exacerbates the situation when, in fact, you blame African Americans or two black men for doing this. It feeds into the stereotype that these type of crimes are committed by a certain group of people. And so it's offensive. It is very offensive, to say the least. But at the same time, when you look at it from the prospect of prosecution, at least at this level, we don't know how bad it's going to be.
But, you know, it's interesting because she got a lot of negative publicity because she brought in the so-called race card. The crime itself, her lawyer says, is not that horrific. She has some mental health problems, he says, but what she did by taking her child away to Disney World is not really, on the big scheme of things, as bad as people are making it out to be.
She's only charged with misdemeanors, and they don't even carry jail in a first offense. But you could bet your bottom dollar this is not all she's going to be charged with. She has a very smart lawyer in Mr. Busico, and he's going to just delay the case to make sure that before he goes into court, he knows everything she's facing. Getting on a plane with somebody's stolen ID, identity theft, possibly stealing this money, that's going to remove the jury appeal from the case.
The only problem that what Chuck is saying, if we really look at it, is that although you think that it's not going to be a jail time because it's two misdemeanors, at the same time you would have thought that she wasn't going to get $1 million bail. So clearly the facts in this case, what she did, what is offensive to people, is going to be looked at by any judge or any jury when this individual is facing justice.
Well, Scott, let's talk a little something about that because,
sure,
there was some criticism of the district attorney's office in her hometown saying, well, $1 million, I mean, she didn't murder someone. She's not accused of, of a felony, a violent crime. Why put so much on her bail, which we should point out at the time that this show is taped, she had posted.
Right. Well, I mean, Lynn, in a case like this created national hysteria. And with national hysteria, where you have people and police agencies and regular citizens with this Amber Alert, although the police were trying to downplay it because they already were suspicious of what's going on here, with this national hysteria, that sort of aggravates the level of this type of conduct. So this isn't your basic, I borrowed my friend's ID and I took my daughter to Florida.
Yeah, but although you're not going to read this in the Constitution, a lot of times when money is allegedly stolen in large amounts, they make the bail high to see if you're going to post it and to see where it's going to come from. Like I said, it's not legal, but they do that quite often.
Do you think, Jeff, that they're trying to make an example of her because she not only brought in the race card, but she also allegedly abused the Amber Alert system?
Yeah, first of all, I mean, the bail is meant to make sure you're coming back to court. So whatever the amount is, it's supposed to be related to, are you going to fly the jurisdiction and flee the jurisdiction, and she did, so she's shown that. Second of all, the real allegation, it's like knocking on the door for domestic violence and finding, a cache of guns. It's not the offense itself, it's that they now think that she embezzled a substantial amount of money, and that's probably why she did all this. I mean, that's the real offense that's waiting out there for her, and that's what they're worried about with the large amount of money. I do think that something like this will end up changing the law in Pennsylvania. Most states make it much more serious to commit this type of offense, which is use 911 for false purposes, etc. The fact that it's a misdemeanor here in Pennsylvania, it's not in New Jersey. It'd be a felony in New Jersey. So
well, Lynn, I would just say there's some other charges that could have been really added on here just with what we know. I mean, the Pennsylvania legislature has some charges for endangering the welfare of a child, or EWOC, corruption of the morals of minors.
How was the child
she
endangered?
Took her kid to Disney World. That doesn't.
Yeah, I never had anything happen to my child at Disney World.
But listen, if you think about the hysteria that's created, first of all, there is an all-out national cry that when this individual was kidnapped, her and her daughter, by two African Americans. Hold on, you asked the question, now listen to the answer. Now, at the same time, if you see this individual walking, or someone asked, I'm sorry, Chuck asked the question. If you see her walking with the child and you're suspicious, because maybe there's an African American going to Disney World around her, you put those individuals who have nothing to do with nothing other than enjoying Disney World, Chuck, you put them in danger. So it seems to me that is something that is deadly serious. Also, what is the cost? What did it cost the federal government that got involved, the state government that got involved, the county that got involved? And the other question is, hell, she made the call from Philadelphia. Why didn't we charge her in Philadelphia County instead of Bucks County? She made the call here. She parked the car here. She's in this jurisdiction. Why aren't the feds involved?
I don't think it's over with. I don't think it's over with. And you could bet your bottom dollar if she gets probation in Bucks County, which I doubt is going to happen, she's going to be charged in Philadelphia and may be charged federally, and I think that's why they're going to just try to wrap it up.
I think Chuck's right about that. I think the federal charges, which carry some very serious prison time, especially for embezzlement, mail fraud, wire fraud, that type of money laundering, I think that's where the teeth is going to come from in this case.
Well, of course, a lot of information that we are not aware of as of this point. Her attorney says that there's more to the story than we know about right now. We're just giving you an opportunity to tell us what you think should happen. Of course, our guests here in the studio are not the only ones with strong opinions. We did ask some of you what you thought, and you weren't at all shy about what you think should happen to the alleged kidnapping mom.
I think that the judge should throw the book at her and literally pick up the book and throw it at her.
I think she's in serious trouble, actually, when she gets to jail, because her accusations in terms of accusing the black males, kidnapping her and all of that, locking her in the trunk, and I think that's going to have serious ramifications.
I just heard about it, and I really think it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Why would you even need to make that up?
I don't think it's a mental health issue. I think that she should get in trouble, that the judge should throw the book at her. Anybody who embezzles money is stealing from someone.
Just a few of the comments that you all had to say about the kidnapping mom and her alleged hoax. Now, if you want to join in, you can go ahead and tell us what you think. We're asking if you agree that she should be put in jail, or if you think she needs mental health help instead. Are you waiting to hear from her before you judge? We always want to know what you think, so I'm going to invite you to email your thoughts and your opinions to me. A couple of different ways that you can do that. You can log on to csnphilly.com and then put in It's Your Call or IYC under the search button. That'll take you to my webpage where you can leave me a comment. You can also email me directly here at the show. That's TCN_IYC at cable.comcast.com. Of course, we are on the social networks. You can look for us on Facebook, MySpace, and YouTube. Now, we do have a statement from the attorney who presented this to us from Bonnie Sweeten. He says, Bonnie is in Pennsylvania with her extended family. She has seen her children, and they are doing well. She is seeking the help she needs, and she is slowly decompressing from this ordeal. She truly thanks everyone for their love, support, and understanding. As a new mother for the third time, she is focusing exclusively on her family. That's from Lou Basico, who is the attorney for Bonnie Sweeten, and he is a longtime friend of this show. We spoke with him, and he told us that he will try to appear on the program in the future to give us Bonnie Sweeten's perspective.